Well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel. First and foremost, we want to apologize that we couldn't come live to you yesterday as we were supposed to be. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. Nonetheless, we decided to bring you this program because we felt there's some issues that we needed to digest as a country and also as Ubuntu channel here. Doing things the way we do best, and that is analyzing issues that were affecting the political world within the borders of the country. My name is Lawrence, and I'm hosting you for the next 1 hour or so. And I'm joined by Wom Kelabai, who is a regular on on this particular program. Wom Kelabai, good evening, and thank you so much for being with us once again.
Good evening, Lawrence, and good evening, viewers. Good to be back.
You. You really sound energetic with that deep voice today. Anything new and interesting that side?
I was at a birthday party last night, so probably I was screaming on top of my voice, singing the praise songs.
Okay, we set the ball rolling, and we are looking at the happenings of the week, and we start with no any other place than the Great Escape, part 3, which is now happening in Zimbabwe. As people are saying, if it was a movie, that's what we would have called it. We've gone international with this particular movie or this particular drama that we have been seeing for quite some time. Started unfolding before us mid this year when we saw Honorable Emmanuel J.J. Banda disappearing and under unclear circumstances. Up to now, we don't know what exactly happened, which led a few months later to his arrest, and then he was in a hospital where the Great Escape Part 2 happened. And now we are hearing Part 3 has happened with in Zimbabwe this time around. And we saw the Minister of Home Affairs, that is Honorable Jack Mwimbu, hosting a press briefing and telling us that, as promised, the update on JJ Banda was that this time around he actually has been captured using Interpol in Zimbabwe, and he promised that we should see the processes of bringing the fugitive member of parliament back into Zambia commence, and we hope to see him anytime soon. When quizzed for the time frame when he could be back, the minister said he could not give a time frame, but he just said what matters is that JJ Banda has been captured. Well, Omkelabai, you saw that news, obviously. How did you receive that news?
I believe the government, when they promised they were going to get in touch with the Zambian people on the progress over the fugitive, there was even is it a 2 million reward to those? Yeah, that will have information about his whereabouts. And yes, he has been found. Now people know where he is. He's in Zimbabwe, the neighboring country. And in the first place, even the Zimbabwean authority will have to find out how he managed to come into their country illegally in the first place. Was he allowed to do that? Who authorized him to enter when he was escaping from lawful custody? That's another case that the Zimbabwean authority can open, or if he applied for asylum seeking, or he wanted a refuge, there's a political refugee, whatever you call it, and their documentation there, and the Zimbabwean authority have allowed him and have accepted him as their as a as a political refugee or an asylum seeker, then the authorities there, they have to now sit down with the Zambian authority to find the ways of how JJ Banda could be extradited to come to Zambia and face his criminal charges. Moreover, he's also needed for work. He needs to go back to parliament. If not, his seat will be declared vacant. The speaker can simply declare that seat vacant because of the absence from him for so many months. So, and now that those are the things that he stands to lose his job, his membership in the parliament. At the same time, there's a court process, there's a court order or the court procedure that is taking place over a criminal matter leveled against him, that is in Zambia, where he escaped. So all those are other added charges. And when he comes back, there will be a lot of investigations on how he could be either he will be put in a custodial, he will be put in prison, because once you escape and then you are caught, I don't think even the judge will be able to give such a person bail because of the history already. So that could also be a possibility that they're gonna put him with in a remand prison until his case is exhausted in the court of law. So
Okay.
the reason why did he leave the country? Why did he run away from lawful custody when he was purported to have been unwell, that he was very seriously sick? So to us, we are even thinking that was just an act, was just acting. For him to have managed to lure the police and leave custody, and then today he's there now, I probably believe that he's much better, So yes, they have found him, and the government, our Zambian government, together with the Zimbabwean authority, I believe they are working on this matter, and they will get back to us as quickly as possible. We cannot just go ahead and start listening to these rumors, the innuendos or this propaganda by the media without proper information. But when we get it from the government, from the horse's mouth, we believe that they have done their job to investigate this case, and they've already they have all the information at hand, and that's why the minister could even hold a press briefing, because he has information and he owes it to the public to explain on the procedure and what is next. Since the minister said he is coming. Yeah.
What is interesting here is no sooner had the minister made that held that press briefing than the PF actually started laughing at the statement itself, claiming that they are very sure whatever the minister is talking about, first and foremost, is actually something that is neither here nor there. In fact, PF seemed to be one step ahead in this kind of in this arrangement when they started claiming that as things stand, JJ has actually left Zimbabwe. And will be going out of Africa, because it's like he has been discovered for sure he is in Zimbabwe, and he decided to leave Zimbabwe so that he can go somewhere else where nobody would be able to trace him. Now, does this show that probably JJ is still in touch with some of his colleagues in the Patriotic Front?
Definitely. I mean, they are the ones that actually took him out of, that facilitated his escape. But now that he's been found, all those that aided and facilitated his escape, definitely will be also held liable, and they will stand those charges as well. So we should expect those things to happen very soon. And I believe even those that funded, facilitated those funded, the very PF that are busy talking or laughing, because they are the ones who are busy helping him to escape from lawful custody. And what you have to understand and believe in is that the government is in control. It doesn't mean, they PF, they are politicians, they are in the opposition, and they would say anything to make the government sound irrelevant in this case. But don't worry, uh, very soon the government, if they just put because if the government put an effort on this issue, it won't even take that long. He will be extradited back to Zambia. At the same time, even if he decide to go abroad outside Africa, he will be found and he will be brought back. There are a lot of issues. You can't travel without proper documentation. You can't go abroad outside Africa when you don't have proper information, and when your name is circulating in social media. Any country that is going to allow any person with such a criminal record definitely will want he won't, unless he's changed or his identity, he has been given a fake passport. But even they do that, even if they do that, you cannot hide. He will be caught, and he will be brought to justice. So he can run, but he cannot hide. Si apa vamupeza enzoganza tu azaendelea. You can't hide under this planet, especially today with social media, with the information on our fingertips. It's easy to locate wherever he's going to be. Even if he comes to Europe or he goes to America, he will be found and brought back to justice, because these
Before
countries as well,
before we
they
talk
have
about
rules.
before we talk about all these things, Womkelabai,
Mhm.
a question that begs an answer, and I'm going to ask you for your opinion on this one. Why Zimbabwe? Because I'm asking why Zimbabwe. Remember, Honorable Chimbakambwili fled to where? To Zimbabwe, if you remember very well. And Munia Zulu is believed to be in Zimbabwe as well. Remember, there are
Oh,
videos that came
Munia
out.
Zulu.
Sorry, I mean Kaiser Zulu. I beg your pardon. The former president's advisor for politics is believed to be also in Zimbabwe, where he fled to, and now this is a third high-profile figure in the Patriotic Front that has fled to Zimbabwe. So the question that begs an answer is, why Zimbabwe for everyone?
Mm. Well, they feel it's they if Zimbabwe, one thing is Zimbabwe is a neighboring country, and definitely they could be corrupt people, those that still want or working hand in hand with the previous government, the previous the PF, you know, and they still have certain ties or certain friendships between the two, thinking that they may bounce back to power. Or so those are issues. You can't control who the Zimbabwean authorities, if at all the Zimbabwean authority are aiding or supporting these guys, to say whenever you have some political whatever, please just come and call us, then we'll bring you into our country. That is their weakness. They're creating a very big a loophole for themselves. They are weakening their foundation and friendship between two countries. But that does not mean that Zimbabwean authorities can break the laws or international laws just because they want to save their friend's skin. No. Where criminals are concerned, there will be um, there will be consequences. So PF, I know they are, because they created this friendship between Zimbabwe, and they are the ones that are busy selling out or busy talking negative things about the government. You've heard about at one point there was the Republican president of Zimbabwe talking a little bit of negative about Zambia security situation, where the US believed to have some bumps near something like that. So it's that background that is making a lot of negative relationship between the two leaderships. But otherwise, they still have international treaties, or rather uh, uh, agreements where uh, they have to stick to the rules. They cannot just go beyond what is agreed upon to do certain things, trying to favor Wakabolala and the harboring criminals. I don't think the Zimbabwean authority will be ready for that, because also their time too will come. They will be wanting to come and run to our country for refuge, and because of what they have already created, it will be difficult. Already Zimbabweans are being chased from South Africa. The South Africans, they've said, no, we don't want. The relationship is now getting sour there also. And now if they do the same and create the same to us in Zambia, where else are they going to go when the situations either is terrible? Even us, we also need Zimbabwe as much as they need us as well. We need them. So the Zimbabwean authorities may act in trying to favor certain individuals, but for how long will they do that? So they have rules as well there. They have laws that they need to follow. Yeah, if they want to give JJ Banda an asylum, whatever status, and they want to save him from political, if at all they are convinced that he's a political whatever, then they can go ahead and invoke that law, and the Zambian authorities won't even go nearby, because they have invoked those relationships, those treaties that even Zambia also is affiliated to. They can simply say, awe tatulefoyo kwisa teti musende uyu political asylum, uyu wachitiri apply for asylum mu Zimbabwe, and twamupera as a refugee, twamupera ka refugee status as a political asylum seeker, then teti muise mukumusenda, because kwali bama rules how to protect. That's why mwale monati abena Idi Amin after babutuka bachita bayabutukira kuma Saudi Arabia kulia, they were not it was known that they were there as political asylum. That's why they sought refuge, and those countries gave them that to protect them, because under the conventions that we have signed, there is that provision where people, when you feel like you are being persecuted in your country, you can simply run to the other neighboring countries and seek for refuge, and then they will, if you qualify, then they will give you that status, and then you'll be protected. But as soon as you step the foot into the country where you were indicted, they can simply arrest you. The Zambian authorities also can invoke certain treaties, the Interpol, agreements, to say, when you have somebody, a criminal that has run into your country and we want him to be extradited, they work together as a team and bring that person back, handing over. Bazamu Guira, already I think JJ Banda is already under police custody or under the state custody in Zimbabwe as well. So it is now the state that are going to sit down and say, hey, bring our criminal back. Or if you don't, then they have to also prosecute him how he went into their country. They can prosecute him from that end too, unless he proves that he is a political asylum seek. And then,
we
because us
we
in
we
Zambia,
are hearing
us in, Zam- us
we
in
are
Zambia,
we are
he is a
hearing
criminal for aggravated robbery. It's not
we are
political, but it
hearing
is.
issues like but, well his wives have been going to Zimbabwe to actually pay him a visit. He has been renting an apartment right in Harare, where he has been all this while, and living just among the Zimbabweans as an ordinary person. Now, if his wives have been able to go and see him all this time, uh,
Mm.
how have we missed that as a country? And look, let's also look at the side of how this particular person has managed to outsmart the whole government of the Republic of Zambia on many occasions, and
That-
seems to be able to do that at will. Is he
No,
giving
no, no.
ideas to others on how to?
It's not at will. Even the government, I think, criminals are criminals. It's not that the government is going to provide that security 100%, that there are no chances of people that are going to be corrupted, or officers that are going to be, um, to be lied to, or working together with the criminals and strike some deals where they facilitate for the. We have police officers that are still paying tribute, or that are still loyal to the previous, or to the so-called employers, the previous regime. So there are a lot of bad eggs out there. Not everyone speaks for the state, or protect, or rather listen to this current government. There's still people that are in the government that have not been fired, because they are just Zambians, and they are given a second. Remember, the president said, "I will have given you guys a second chance to prove yourselves that you have changed, and let's try to work together as one, so that we see our government, our country go forward." But then we see these kind of elements that are coming up. There are police officers, there are police officers that permitted this person to escape. The wife, she's also still under investigations as well. So there's a lot that is at stake here, and the government is really doing their work. They are really there. It is not that he has outsmarted. No, no, no. It's the problem is that we are working with people that have a very negative, they are criminals. They have a very bad uh, reputation, or rather relationship with the current government. They would rather do anything. They can do anything to pay anyone that is in authority. They can pay it to do anything, just to circumvent the law. So we know there are people behind this. JJ Banda is a very dour chap. He cannot outsmart the state. There are people that facilitated to do these things. There are people that facilitated to help him escape from lawful custody. And the reason why they chose Zimbabwe, because those people already have ties with some Zimbabwean that are either corrupt, you know, some Zimbabwe's officials that are corrupt, that are working hand in hand with these uh, people from the PF. And that's why you see them enjoying the drama, running around and even spreading a lot of propaganda, lies, and they're celebrating, if anything. They're even telling you to say, to make you guys feel that the government is not doing anything. They're telling you to say the wives, they have been going there, you know, they have been going there to visit him. The police are investigating these cases, and we have a lot of serious matters to deal with, unlike following a useless MP that decided to break the law. So we have serious matters. People are dying out of a few things, more medications. Why would we prioritize a fugitive? We just send 1, 2 police officers, they will get him. It's easy to bring these guys back home. It's not difficult, Vane. It's easy to bring JJ Banda, but the government has not prioritized as JJ Banda as a case of him. No, they've just given him enough rope to hang himself. He is going to come back.
Okay, Labai, if you say the government does not prioritize the JJ Banda issue, look at the chain of events. A home minister had to hold a press briefing. Remember, how many times do you see the Minister of Home Affairs hold a press briefing when they capture a criminal? It's very rare. And actually, the following day, we see the whole Inspector General of Police holding a press briefing concerning the same. So if you say they have not given this priority, I mean, what will it take for you to know that there is priority in this case?
They've sent officers to investigate. They are given that specific job to take that case. Not all the government should do that. No. And they're given reports on the progress. And ministers and inspector general, they work also under reports that are given back to them, the feedback. But they owe it to the Zambian people to disseminate the information on how far has the case gone. So is it wrong for the government to hold a press briefing and say an MP that escaped from lawful custody has been located and has been found in Zimbabwe? Is it a wrong statement to give? Okay, because it is well known. One, there's an MP that is missing that went AWO, that is not attending this or representing his constituency. Is gone. The government is continuing paying the bills or the salary, and the people of whatever constituency is from, they are also waiting for this person to come to their aid. People are dying of small, so issues that are avoidable, that can be avoided. So the government, yes, can also report on the progress, on the development of this case. What happened was when he escaped, there was a development. That was a development of the case. And they came to the public and told the public, uyu muntu navutuka. Uyu muntu twaikete walelanda, twalesta pretend kuti mulwele talelanda nokulanda talenda nokwenda. Navutuka. Escaped from lawful custody. But Muisakamana to register investigate until we are not going to rest until we get to the bottom of this. Anyone that will be found involved will be brought to justice and the law will take its own course. Now, here's the situation. Vakapokola vachita investigate, Limbi, there was someone that was following them. You don't know that. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So let us not speculate that or I'm a special, they are intelligent officers cannot, even a normal human being, the police, they can send just a normal person without under a secret, whatever. What does it require to enter Zimbabwe to go and fetch somebody from there? It doesn't take that much time. It's easy to get him, to bring him, but they don't want to do those things. They are taking it easy. They want to do it the rightful thing. Now that it is in a public domain. So what do? They have to follow the right procedure. They have discovered that he is in Zimbabwe. Fine. What do? They need to give the feedback to the people. And they are now responding. Now to Musanga, and we are now working with government to government, working out modalities in how this person who is supposed to come and face criminal charges should be extradited to Zambia. Now, if they hit the wall, they will come back. The government will come back to explain to the Zambian people, no, we have a problem. because the Zimbabwean authority are refusing to release this person. Reasons being A, B, C, D. They will come to us. They will tell us. Now the Zambian authority will also, they can even engage other countries to step in, other presidents to step in, to intervene, to intervene. Why are you protecting a criminal who is supposed to go? What picture are you creating? So we haven't yet heard the Zimbabwean authority issuing any official statement over this. So the government to government, they are working out on things. All these rumors and innuendos and conclusion,
Nomkelevai,
these are just
the Zimbabwe police is being quoted as saying that, contrary to what was announced by the Zambian government,
what
that
by who?
the Zimbabwe police was quoted by the news diggers as having responded to their press query on the subject matter that they do not have any such a one in their custody.
Yeah, if that's what I mean, is the new digger, but news digger, are they the rightful sources of information that we can hear? And they went to the Zambian, to the what, to the Zimbabwean police. The Zimbabwean police spokesperson, has he spoken about this? Have they spoken about this issue, or it is with the ministers at the ministry level? Is it at the higher office? We have no idea. So the government of Zambia is working hand in hand with the government of Zimbabwe to discuss this matter. They are discussing, and we should not jump the gun. We are just going to create this create enmity, kwatinalimo kuli enmity between Zimbabwe and Zambia, especially when we could hear, I mean, our PF, every time Zimbabwe is mentioned, they are on their feet. They're using Zimbabwe because they are either in the same boots with the current government in Zimbabwe. They're in good boots, but that does not mean we don't have a cordial relationship between the government of Zimbabwe and the government of Zambia. So the governments, they are working on this matter, and they are going to get back to us and tell us. News digger is not a source of our information. News digger is just journalists who are trying to make a living. They should explain. If the Zimbabwean police spokesperson refused, then they should go now to the Minister of the Minister of Home Affairs and ask questions, and the government will explain. Because I believe strongly that the government of Zambia and the government of Zimbabwe, they are working on this issue, trying to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, something else that we picked from the news this particular week focuses on the by-election that we are supposed to have. The Kawambwa by-elections. Remember, the Kawambwa member of parliament, that is Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, was convicted just earlier this year, and we have to find a replacement for him. And the process has started now, and we saw quite a number of interested parties taking going for nominations during the week. The nominations happened 3 days ago, and well, we just have a lot of news that came out from there. Where first and foremost, the Tonse Alliance. A candidate, that is Dunstan Mwansa, filed in the nomination successfully, but it was not without any sins. We saw in videos that were circulating, where there was an exchange of words between the Tonse Alliance and representatives, or let me say the officers from the Electoral Commission of Zambia who were handling this particular exercise. And first and foremost, let me ask you, should we be at the stage where even nominations should be places of altercations, political altercations and confrontations, especially with Electoral Commission of Zambia officers whom we should deem as impartial and neutral?
Proposition will always be always play their part where they complain of any irregularity that they think is taking place by or being perpetrated by the electoral officials. They will always be there to claim to complain. You saw it even UPND when they were in the opposition. You saw the Gary Combos of the world where they could go and they speak and they question, the ECZ people on the modalities on which they were doing those things. So it is actually inevitable that they are given that it's their democratic right to complain, if at all what they're complaining against it's something that is legit, but we know that people sometimes just complain for the sake of complain, because they thought the ECZ will put up some red tape so that they don't file in nominations and blah blah blah, because they have a new party in place, and they thought things won't be accepted to file in their nomination. But the ECZ have the prerogative to reject and accept any. It's up to them. If you meet the criteria, you meet the demands, the required documentation, and if you meet all those things and everything is straightforward, I don't think there will be any questions. But as usual, there's always drama on the other side. People speak louder, and you can tell that the complaint, someone is talking to somebody, is just next to him. Instead of either lowering the voice, they want to speak higher so that you attract attention, meaning the intention is to spread, umfweni mutule uyu muntu baleka nokisa. But meanwhile, they were just communicating with people that are just next to them. So the ECZ, when they question certain documentation or asking for certain information, it does not mean that they are being unfair. They are not being partial. They are not being impartial. So we need to understand the works of ECZ, that they are also have the right to request more information relating to people that are filing their nomination paper, because these things can come and bite them back. If you file in a person who has either a criminal record, or the party is representing has not been registered properly, there are some other documents required, there's some issues that are need. So the ECZ have a lot of work on their part. So that does not mean that they are hinging on the democracy. No, they're just doing their job, trying to make sure that you file in the nomination papers in a legitimate way. It is up to them. They can refuse, they can accept. It's entirely up to them. It's their prerogative, and given that power by the Constitution. So once they say no, they have to go to court. You cannot start throwing tantrums and insulting them when they have just said sorry. If you are not satisfied, then take the matter to the next fora. You don't stand there and start wasting much of your time and insulting. Bala charging up for conduct. They will just give you a case for conduct. So these tantrums you see from politicians, from this opposition, they are being thrown away on the premises that they think UPND government is up to no good. There's something that they're up to. They want to silence the opposition, and which is untrue. They are given that authority. They are going through. They nominate. They file in their nomination papers, and some of them even holding rallies, public rallies. A thing that themselves by opposition today found it so that they never even, they were not used to it. But today, under HH, the New Dawn government, these guys, they're surprised that they are crying no democracy, but they're having those rallies, they are filing, they are even creating more parties, and they're busy fighting among themselves, and then they want to bring in the government. And we're like, what are you doing, you guys? The government is not doing anything illegal or stopping anyone. There's so much, there's a lot of transparency, and this democracy is really on its top, in Zambia as we speak today, because under Walungu, you, the Zambian people, you were there. And it's not long ago, bonse oko mwali mona bakapokola bale kanyo muntu kuya kumalilo mukuyashika bakaunda mukuyashika banani, they were refusing kwali ama unlawful ama charges. There were charges after charges. People were going to the police baya kupela umulandu from a traffic infraction baya later at treason case. What are these charges? But look at what is this government is doing now. It's using the law. Baleba perama cases. It's entirely up to them to prove. And they knew that they committed those crimes. But before that, the previous government was giving them frivolous charges, giving the opposition frivolous charges. That time it was UPND that was in opposition. And that's why you found that you find out that they themselves are opposition, Nombalero, by PF and others. They think UPND is going to do the same thing, because they think that UPND is going to start using their tactics, which is not. And when they see it's so different, they are now coming up with intuition, or they're insinuating that this government is trying to do the things that they used to do, but which is not true. Today, Malekwatama public rally, which government would allow the opposition, especially the former president, going parallel and start talking bad, mouthing about warning the civil servant and downplaying the government, insulting, whatever? They have not done anything. They're just quiet. But them, they are busy running up and down. Ama cases na vapela. Those criminal charges they are facing, they're in court today. There is a process. Cases that are being dismissed. Other cases they are losing their cases. And these are criminal charges where they are given an opportunity to be heard. They are going through normal court proceedings. So Iva Chilangwa, balusa omulandu wabo, babapera omulandu, and he failed to win that case, and he was convicted. Yes, now there is a vacant. So the by-elections are in order to take place, because the MP there is now a criminal convict, is serving. So it's not political assassination or rather persecution the way they claim. No, the MP had some cases, criminal matters, and he was found guilty. He was given an opportunity to go to court Kabieke Minine, about GBM once, they were given an opportunity to be heard. They even hired their own lawyers. Maybe some of them paid a lot of money, but the justice prevailed. So vela tuve pakutirati there's political persecution or shanshan uko fiabu fifiria is just crying babies of a guilty mind. The rule of law is taking place. There's proper democracy now. There's total tranquility mu Zambia. So vela tuve pava varesa tibalefo kubwesha democracy or this democracy is under attack. Where? Who they have
So
the right to
Omkelabai,
go on social media.
let's look at things that have been said about our democracy, especially by some of the ambassadors in this country. They have continuously advised the current government to allow other political parties also to function and engage the population and the citizens of this country so as to allow a free-flowing democracy. Now, don't you think these are some of the things we need to learn from what happened to the previous government, which ignored such advice, which looks small every now and then, but in the long run, it turns out to be a very big factor. If you look at Valungu, a lot of advice was given to him by, I remember them even making sure that one ambassador from the United States is sent back home. They made sure that that happened because he gave them advice and was not really agreeing with the way they were doing some things. And it is the same thing that is happening right now. We have heard of, for example, the UK ambassador advising the current government to allow to just allow the democratic space to thrive and not curtail it, and not to curtail political parties and the like. Don't you think these are lessons that the UPND should learn from the Patriotic Front?
Which government, which political parties that are being curtailed from expressing themselves democratically in Zambia today?
Wamkelabai, if you are very conversant with Zambian news, simple search will show you how many times a lot of political parties have been denied their plans to hold public rallies. In fact,
that's not
this
true.
year,
That's not
only
true.
three. You can just do a simple search. Only 3 public rallies have been agreed to upon by the police this year alone. Where the biggest reason for this, police has always cited lack of security. But when the same political parties decide to go ahead with that police, the number of police officers that will be deployed is even more than the number of police officers required to police those political rallies. This is the situation. In fact, the Inspector General of Police is on record having said he will not allow political parties to have rallies. He is on record on doing that.
Well, I think you are talking about PF.
No, I'm not talking about PF. I'm talking about
PF
the current,
is the enemy
you can
of
ask, you
peace.
can check. I think
PF is an
if I can
wherever
do a
PF
simple
goes,
Google
my
search.
brother. I don't need to Google because I know the behavior of the previous political party called Patriotic Front. The government or the police, they are in order to even issue such statement. But at the same time, these are people that you see them walking freely, engaging people on social media, having even holding public rallies. What do you want the government to do? What is it that you want the government to do? Has the government authorized these people to hold rallies? Yes. Has the government also refused to allow people to hold public rallies due to certain concerns by the state? Yes. Is that legal? Yes. If they had challenges They want to challenge the government over the decision, over refusal. Have they taken any action to do that? What do? They still come back to the media, to the social media. Under the president they claim is a dictator, is not allowing them to express themselves freely. But they are there, they are always all over, going through the media, talking to people, they hold public meetings without even going through, they use the church. We have seen it. It was the thing that never used to happen in Zambia. Today it's happening. They are holding these meetings freely. The churches are involved. They gather people, bringing political issues in the church, political rallies in churches. And the government has never issued any statement to stop that from happening. No. So what kind of democratic space are these people talking about? Into democratic space was shrinking. We saw you could not wear a regalia and a different type of regalia on the street of Lusaka or anywhere. If you are driving a car with a different political party symbol on it, that car will be damaged. We saw that. The buses were broken down. People were beaten.
People were stopped from conveying. Probably,
the MMD.
You are not understanding what I'm trying to bring.
No, I do understand your question, your concern.
Kindly give me a chance to just elaborate here.
Go ahead.
What I was saying is that we acknowledge all those things were happening in the Patriotic Front. Nobody is disputing that fact. But what I'm asking you is, don't you think when people are advising the current government not to repeat those mistakes, they should take heed? You have concentrated so much on the Patriotic Front, but let me maybe move away from the Patriotic Front. Let me look at the Socialist Party itself. The Socialist Party last year in 2023 applied to host rallies about 6 times and were only allowed once. And that is the situation at hand. That trend has continued, and in fact it comes after the Inspector General of Police is on record. Simple Google search will give you this fact, that he said he will not allow parties to host the rallies until probably after some time. This is also on record. So what I'm trying to say is, don't you think it is time that we learn some lessons from the previous government? Those are mistakes the previous government made, and don't you think the current government should learn from some of these things? I'm not trying to say that the Patriotic Front is actually clean as a whistle in these things. Actually, they perpetrated these things, and I agree 100% with you. But don't you think the current government should take some lessons from this?
I think the current government has already learned a lesson, and and that's why they're very careful this time around. That's why they are even allowing people to be arrested today, and within few hours, 48 hours, they're released. They are given police bonds. They appear before the courts of law. There's rule of law. The current government is following the law. Unlike what was happening in the previous, we know that. And they have learned a lesson as well. And that's why we see a lot of difference. There's a huge difference. That's today as we speak. That itself, it's evident to show that the current government learned its lesson and they're doing the right thing. You know, they are not refusing just for the sake of refusing. They have their reasons. They are not allowing these political parties to get, because the law allows that. They have the reasons to allow political parties to hold rallies. Moreover, We are not in a campaign mode, in a campaign period now yet. The country is facing a lot of challenges. And this is where you want to unleash others on the street when people are struggling, trying to put ends meet. No. The government, yes, they are in control. They have the right to decide when to start holding rallies.
It's like you are saying that the government should not allow political parties because there are struggles that are happening. But does the constitution say if there are struggles in the country, then political rallies should not happen? Or
No,
it is
no,
someone
no.
who has decided?
The police have their own concerns. Okay? And if they are talking about manpower, they are right. Because these politicians, we have seen them now, I'm blandishing guns in public just for their security. Some, they've been shot firearms, firing in the air when they went against what the police were trying to advise them, against certain cadres. You know, the police they know, they have the intelligence. So when you hear the police say, no, we have some concerns here, guys, you can't hold the line because of security issues, you may create a very unfavorable condition right now. Listen to the law enforcement agents. But instead, you want to politicize their response. You know, you want to politicize it. Well, at the end of the day, it's them with the last word. What are you going to do? But the freedom of movement and freedom of association and freedom of expression is really on its peak in Zambia. Today, as we speak, under this regime, you can go anywhere. We are here, we are. It will never used to happen. And this is one way, we are in it's progress. And will be much better as years come in the future. We're going to be much, much better because we are learning also through the mistakes that we are making as a nation. You know, some of these guys, today as we're speaking, bloodshed, if the police allowed, because the anger of people who wants to revenge is a lot out there. So huge. But then you want to go there. That's when you want to elonga kwamba kuchitika accident bantu bambokufa ati yo this government is weak. It's not doing its job.
Okay, probably as my last question, if you go by the Inspector General of Police, the reason he gave as the reason why the police does not allow political rallies is because they fear opposition parties will be attacked by UPND members. That is according to the Inspector General of Police. So what is your comment on that? Womkeleva, are you with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So my question is
yeah,
the police says the reason is they fear opposition political parties will be attacked by UPND members.
That's possible. Maybe as the police speaks, they're speaking from experience and they have seen complaints. People have gone there to simply say, if you don't, then we're gonna go in, and we have also weapons. We're gonna open fire. Why should the police?
My concern here is the police admitting that UPND members are capable of attacking?
They are capable. They are capable. Yes, they are capable. They are capable. There's a possibility that it can happen. But if you have a weak administration or weak leadership, what would they do? They would simply allow you. We will see. We want to prove
So then, what is the difference between UPND members and Patriotic Front members, if this is the case?
No, at least the UPND members have been contained. You know,
By denying other political parties from assembly.
They have been contained and restrained, not by denying. They have allowed the opposition to carry out their thing. It's not about the rally. You saw they were given opportunity to go and have rallies. You heard what they were talking about. That was those messages they were spreading. Was it a message to unite the nation? No. Was to even precipitate anger. And what happens if now the other people that were persecuted, they see the same people that were busy championing violence, some killed their brothers and sisters, going back and start talking, saying things, public rallies. And the police, they are aware of the information, they know. It will be the police that will be in trouble. So they have the right, yes. It's their prerogative as police to simply, if they sense danger, they get information that there are cadres that are planning to attack the fellow cadres because of their, differences. The police have the right to act. That this is the problem here. We can't allow this person to do this. Why do you think the police even were busy following Edgar Changwa wherever he was going? It's not that because they just wanted to intimidate him. No, they were trying to protect him. But now, the very chaps, they are busy insulting men and women in uniform who are trying to preserve. And then if they move away, the same chap will be complaining, no, how can you neglect to give security to the former head of state? You are laughing, you the Zambian people, you were even laughing a police officer who was saying, no, sir, we're supposed to follow you wherever you go. You were laughing, you actually stereotyped that police officer. You were laughing, including Edgar Changwa together, they were laughing at the police officers. Now, Edgar Changwa to walk to Intercontinental, where Emmanuel Mwamba was busy trying to challenge. That officer was doing it not in the best interest of himself. No, he did it in the best interest of Lungu, security, the presidency, the office of the former president. But you, the Zambian people, you downplayed it, started laughing and mocking the officers, calling them names. You don't know. We can put this country on fire if the police don't act on intelligent information that they're given.
Unfortunately, we have to end because we have a moment of grace starting at 19:30 coming up right on Ubuntu channel. Maybe let me just spare a minute to give you a chance to just conclude and give your concluding remarks and just wind up. Please, under a minute, so that we can give Namwinga and obviously our producer a chance to get set for the next program.
Thank you. My concluding remarks is that the issue to do with JJ Banda, we should not speak out of the blues. JJ Banda, if he has been recovered or has been found by the by the police and the authority, they know where he is. There are procedures in extraditing a criminal suspect, and the government, you should trust the government. They have the information and they'll get back to us instead of us spreading falsehood and the rumors. Let's hear what the government's position is on. After all, they are the ones investigating. They're the ones talking or talking to the other authority on the other side. So it's not our area to start speculating or to start spreading rumors. And the other thing is, let us just trust the government that is in power today. They are doing their job. Let's listen to their stories. They give information to the Zambian people. We would rather listen to the government than some social media bloggers or vloggers. So pay attention to the information given by the state, not some unreliable sources. And the other issue to do with the Kawambwa by-elections, well, it is done. The MP is incarcerated, so the seat has been declared vacant, and people have to file in their papers, and definitely the by-elections will take place peacefully. And then no one has been rejected. No one has been turned around to say no. And if they do, then there must be a reason. There is a reason why there's a rejection of the nomination papers. So we should not politicize that everything that goes to say ECZ then should be okay for everyone. No, the ECZ people have the right to investigate and to refuse or to accept a nomination if at all
All right.
the
All
person
right.
meets the criteria.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mkelavai, for being with us. We'll continue talking in the background, but to everybody watching us on all these social media platforms, we really appreciate your time and the effort that you've put into to be with us, join us, listen to us, and also to share your views via your comments and all that. Remember, up next is a moment of grace with Namwinga, and please. Just take time to get back to Jesus with Nabwinga as she does a thing. From me, Loris, and Vomkelavai here, we say bye bye and see you on Saturday.